Birth of the Ottoman Empire. The story stretching from Bilecik, a semi-independent Turkish frontier principality, state. The end of the 13th century, Anatolia is a fragmented land under the shadow of Mongol invasions. The Seljuks have lost their power, and the Bilecik struggle to survive on their small territories. Right in the middle of this turmoil, a small Turkish tribe living between Söğüt and Domaniç. The Kayus is taking root quietly but resolutely. The beginning that comes with Osman Gazi turns into an empire. At the head of this small beylik stands Osman, the son of Ertuğrul Gazi. Osman Bey is young, but he carries both faith and a great ideal in his heart. He seeks not merely to gain land, but to establish an order with justice. Surviving as a small beylik on the Byzantine frontier is not easy. It is surrounded by powerful Byzantine lords, wars, betrayals, famines. Yet for Osman Bey, each of these is a test. While he rules his people in Söğüt with justice, he also sends his raiders against Byzantine fortresses. With every victory, he gains not only land, but also confidence. With the conquest of Karakahisar, Osman Bey becomes more than a mere frontier lord. Then come Bilecik and İnegöl. In this period, Osman Bey rules not only with his sword, but also with his mind. Together with the dervishes, ahi guilds, and scholars around him, he lays the foundations of a new order. A crescent he saw in a dream rising from his chest and spreading over the world becomes the ideal of the Ottomans, to rule the world with justice. As he grows old, illness confines Osman Bey to his bed, but his heart is at ease, for his son Orhan now carries his dream. The journey that began on the small lands of Söğüt will turn into a world-spanning story. In his will, Osman Bey says to his son Orhan, "My son, rule among men with justice. Stay away from oppression, for justice is the foundation of the state." And in 1326, Osman Gazi passes into eternity, leaving behind a growing state. His son Orhan Gazi is now the second leader of the Ottomans. With the era of Orhan Gazi, the foundation begins. Orhan Gazi is the one who strengthens his father's groundwork. He is remembered not for conquests, but for order. In 1326, Bursa is conquered and becomes the first capital of the Ottoman state. This is a turning point, for now the Ottomans are not merely a fighting community, but an institutionalizing state. During the time of Orhan Gazi, the first madrasa is opened and the first coins are minted. The divan, the council that forms the basis of the state, is established. Moreover, the Ottoman army becomes systematic. The first regular units are formed called Yaya and Musallam. But Orhan's real success is turning his gaze to Rumelia. Taking advantage of Byzantine internal strife, Chimpi Castle is seized. Thus, the Ottomans set foot in Europe for the first time. This event is not merely the conquest of a fortress, it is the moment when the fate of the Ottomans changes. When Orhan Gazi grows old, he entrusts the state to his son, Murad I. His legacy is order, justice, and resolve. Immediately following him comes the fearless Murad I. Murad was a leader, both warrior-like and dervish-spirited. When he ascended the throne, the Ottomans were no longer a small beylik, but a growing state. In 1362, he conquered Edirne and made it the capital. Now the Ottomans were taking root in the Balkans. Victories against Serbian, Bulgarian, and Hungarian armies created great fear in Europe. Murad established the Rumeli Beylerbeyliği, bringing order to the conquered lands. Everywhere, mosques, inns, and bridges rose. The justice of Anatolia was carried to the Balkans. But Murad's end came in his greatest victory. In the First Battle of Kosovo in 1389, the Ottomans defeated the united Christian armies. However, at the end of the victory, he was stabbed by a Serbian soldier. Murat became a martyr, the first ruler in Ottoman history remembered as a martyr sultan. A ruler true to his name, Yıldırım Bayezid. By the time he took the throne, Europe had already begun to tremble. They called him Yıldırım, Thunderbolt, because he moved like lightning on the battlefield. In a short time, Bulgaria, Serbia, and the Anatolian beyliks were incorporated into the Ottoman realm. He established political unity in Anatolia and extended the state's borders across 2 continents. But Yıldırım's greatest goal was Constantinople. He besieged the city and left Byzantium helpless, yet the time had not come. But from the east, a great danger was approaching, Timur. The 2 great rulers met on the plain of Ankara. The Battle of Ankara in 1402 was a great disaster for the Ottomans. Bayezid was captured and the state was shaken. Shortly thereafter, Yıldırım Bayezid died. With his death, the Ottomans entered the interregnum, the period of fraternal strife. The interregnum and the hopes for rebirth rose again. A struggle for the throne began among Bayezid's sons. The Ottomans lost their unity, but one among them, Mehmed Çelebi, was different from the others. He acted not with war, but with wisdom. He defeated his brothers and reunited the country. Thus the Ottomans rose from their ashes. History would remember him as the second founder. Murad II is remembered as the forerunner of a new leader. During the reign of Murad II, the state regained its strength. The Balkan campaigns ended successfully and the Ottoman borders expanded. But his true legacy was his son, Mehmed the Conqueror. Even at a young age, he possessed great intelligence, patience, and vision. Murad, by leaving the throne to his son, opened a chapter that would change the course of history. And thus the small beylik born in Söğüt had become a vast empire that, in the youth of Mehmed the Conqueror, pressed upon the gates of Constantinople. The story of the Ottomans was written not only with the sword, but with faith, reason, and justice. Each sultan placed a stone upon this edifice, and from those stones a civilization was born. In our next video, we will see the developments of the Ottoman Empire's rise, the era of Mehmed II, the conqueror who closed one age and opened another. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and never forget those who helped you when you were in a difficult situation.